Hello and welcome to another video. So today we're taking a look at the rotation sets of stuff. So we're actually going to look at an unlimited deck, of course, out of rotation. I normally do a heap of rotation videos, but today I was like, you know, we really need to get some unlimited videos out. I want to have these coincide every so often to go with the rotation videos. I think I'll stick with that as my primary videos, and then I'll have these unlimited ones just kind of staggered with the others, so expect these probably every couple of days. And kicking off, we're going to go with an unlimited sword deck that I've put together. So I'm aiming for the whole big, early drop package, then into a solid mid game with stuff like Vagabond that can carry you into late pretty easily, and then just pretty much burst damage from there. I never actually got to pull off Captain Wilfred. That was kind of what I was hoping to be able to use. I mean, he does combo nicely with things like Vagabond and just other really, easy to drop followers, especially when you've got stuff like a round table to drop commanders. You can quite easily just drop anything really. Other than that, I've got the Arthur, just a single one. I didn't want to overstack those. Just one Darksaber. It's a nice ward. The triple Alberts, triple Fangblades. I think this deck does fairly well. I mean, I won a few, lost a few. It was pretty even, I would say, overall, which is nice. So hopefully we'll be able to enjoy it, and we'll get to some games. Okay, first up, we are versing Sword. Sorry, we're playing as Sword. We're versing Rune, sorry. Sword will be the last matchup I show here. I got them in the wrong order. So, we start off with a pretty solid hand. Any 1 and 2 drops are always good, especially since we are running a good package, which Arthur can take advantage of. Coming up against Rune, we know that we're going to have a good match with aggro. We can usually aggressively burst them down and not have to worry about losing too much to their cards. Getting both Quick Bladers. I don't mind the Quick Bladers, but God. We got Homebound Mercenary, great card, restoring health while dealing with aggro threats. Also great turn 4 card just due to the enhance, gaining stats. So playing him on 3 and on 4 is actually going to be really solid.
I can't lose here.
So we have got a pretty good hand now. I mean, they did return the 2-drop, makes things a little more awkward, but not too bad at all. So we can drop 4 damage onto their face, put them to 10, set up into next turn with a 3-4. Really good, really hard for them to deal with. I mean, the Chimera plays and stuff are probably the most dangerous things for me to watch out for, because D-Shift really still isn't probably going to be active until at least turn 7. Even on an unlimited format with all the new 1-drop spells, it's still quite hard to pull it off much earlier. Daria is probably a bigger threat than actually D-Shift when it comes to early drops. So we get the chance to play another Homebound, we can ping a couple more damage. I mean, all we gotta do is survive, probably to turn 7, and we can swarm the board very quickly.
There's no time for you slugs. I can't lose here.
Wow, so they didn't really do much. I mean, these Guardians are going to be a little bit of a pain to get round, but not impossible. Arthur on 7 is going to pretty much close out this matchup, I reckon, just because the damage alone from Arthur's pulls, unless they can deal with it in a single turn, they just don't see it happening. We also have Fangblade Slayer, which is going to be a crazy amount of damage. I do decide to pretty much spend this evolve on the Vanguard just because getting rid of these wards is kind of important. Plus we can buff our little Hedgehog. I love Bladed Hedgehog, he's so adorable, guys. You really need to get yourself Bladed Hedgehog. Of course, Conjure Golem, Chimera. Kind of unfortunate, not too surprising in this match, but Arthur on 7 is just really solid. I mean, what do you do against that as Rune? Unless you're running Fiery, you're not really going to get rid of this. Especially since the Kunoichi is really good. Being able to remove that is crucial when Arthur's dropped. So they are spamming spells, trying to deal with me. They do manage to block me out a little bit, but it's not going to quite be enough here, I don't believe. I need to deal 7 damage. they're probably going to get some pretty good trades, so honestly, they're probably going to hold out this turn. It's next turn that's probably going to concern them. Actually, no, Fangblade. Oh, not quite. Fangblade's not quite enough, but 2 Fangblades. Now that will be plenty. I mean, the next turn, since we've seen so many cards played, I'm not really expecting a huge D-shift turn. And if there is, that would be quite surprising in this match right now. But we do have Fangblade, so even with a complete board clear, we can just play that out, ram it to a follower, hopefully they play something, and we'll be all good. Yep, they think they can survive by using a Conjure Golem, which makes sense. I mean, you don't really expect a second Fangblade immediately as a follow-up. So being able to get that 3 damage is perfect. Next up, we are versing a Dragon. Dragon in Unlimited can be pretty nasty, but it's about the same in rotation, honestly. Dragon uses pretty much the same package in both sets, a few little adjustments, but I don't think anything too crazy when it comes to most Dragon decks. And as a sword player for this one, it's a little bit of a difficult matchup if you end up in the late game and you can't close it out. So we do have solid 2-drops, which I always like. I love having the Kunoichi Trainee, I love having the Bladed Hedgehog. They're always normally fine. This is why I only run double of the spell that summons them, even though I probably could get away with actually running 3 of them. This dragon hasn't really done much, but really dealing with stuff quite quickly. We got Kunoichi to follow up on 2, and a quick Blader to just drop our extra little play points out. Also, getting all this damage is really important to the late game, because once we get to that late game, we want to be dropping Albert and kind of Fangblade to go for lethal against this dragon player. Yep, so a solid Albert, we can go for that 5 damage. I mean, we're going to curve right into Council, which is pretty perfect, especially when they have to waste resources dealing with Albert. Being able to get those hits in is always a nice thing.
I've got to take a break.
So we got Breath of Salamander.
Her Royal Majesty is impatient.
So we get to ram the Hedgehog with a little bit of buff. I don't want it to die to Salamander really, so that's why we're buffing it up to 3 health. That way, if they do want to kill it, they have to leave up all the 1s, which is really good for me. And of course, going into turn 7, we can use Lancer of Tempest, which is a really good card. I really love that one. Awesome gold. And turn 8, we have the option of either Wilfred or Fangblade, depending on how our board looks at the end of turn 7. But with Albert, we actually get the win here. I mean, I was expecting to set up for another turn, but that's perfectly fine too.
This victory is a testament to your strength.
And the final game for this video will be a sword mirror match. How fun is that? You know, sword on sword is always a great way to go. Starting off with a pretty garbage hand, honestly. Fangblade and Lancer of Tempest, not great to go in your opener. Kunoichi is pretty good, so that's always a good one to have. Getting double Kunoichi is actually really great, especially against Sword when you know they're going to be dropping early drops, so you being able to drop your own is going to be fairly good. Perseus though, a bit of a difficult thing to deal with. Not a fan of having to deal with that in the early game, just because the favourite trades are really not optimal here, especially with no 1-drops. Being able to throw this Kunoichi out, always fun. I would run Bercy, but I run Vanguard mainly for the synergy with Wilfred. Being able to gain ward on most of those is just so nice. So we drop both our Kunoichis, nothing I can really do with them. Attacking with 1 is probably the best option I've actually got.
The blade of judgment falls. It's not enough yet.
Then we pretty much get to go with the Vagabond Frog.
Where the wind takes me.
You are done for.
Of
find myself out on the road.
Forget me. Just abandon me as
Not a bad trade.
Settle down.
Being a big trade with the board, I need to get rid of the Mars, which is important. Frog's great because he does defend himself. We can follow up nicely with Albert in the next turn, which should allow us to really get the damage rolling.
Day for a fight.
Heat up.
Not so great that they did get the frontline Cavalier down though, making all my damage just kind of useless.
Sky Knights, prepare for
It's
battle.
really not the best couple of turns that I've got here, but it's probably the best I'm going to be able to do.
A little blood won't stop me.
Especially since I'm probably going to have to use my Evolve earlier than my second Albert,
At the speed of light.
which I don't like too much, especially now that they've got that, which is going to be pretty average actually. If it had have had its enhanced, it would have been good, but playing it like this just doesn't seem worthwhile.
The whispers of the wind. So this is the end.
As for me, we've got Card Council, which should be plenty to deal with this if we don't draw anything better, but a second Albert really makes me want to push this out, especially since I can evolve it. Throwing the Evolve on it, it gets to survive, I can ram the Frog again, jam them for a good amount of damage, set up into turn 7 for Lancer of Tempest, and then probably turn 8 Fangblade, turn 9 Albert. You can curve out quite well with this hand so far. If I hadn't have got the other Albert, I probably would have just dropped Council of the card, threw the Evolve on the Bane and rammed it, which would have left me in a similar spot I guess.
So this is the end.
Lucky for me, Lancer of Tempest is going to eradicate this entire board, which is just great. It allows me to ping that last 3 damage I'm probably going to need, because Fangblade, as long as I don't play a ward, should be enough to actually get through this. Actually, even with a single ward, it will be enough. They need double wards to block me out of this game.
Time to settle down.
Frog is just great. I love Frog so much. Even now, it's just amazing.
In the name of glory.
Arthur! Alright, so we don't really expect any wards here. At most, you'd expect 1 if they ran the, I forgot what the ward was called. Veteran? I can't remember. Anyway, if they'd have ran that, yeah, that would have been it. Otherwise, we actually had 2 lethals here. 3 lethals if you count round table.
The real thing.
So, more than enough damage to win. So, hope you guys did enjoy this Unlimited video. I don't know what other decks I can cover in Unlimited. They just all feel a little clunky to me when I've been running them. This one's done fairly well, but it still wasn't the best. There's just so many options now with Chronogenesis having so many cards and being able to use every single one. It just makes it so hard to work out of some kind of new variants that you could run. I am working on a Shadow Unlimited. I've worked on a couple of Rune ones that I'm still trying to refine down a little bit. But hopefully you guys did enjoy these. These will come every 2 to 3 days probably on average. They'll be double uploads, so I hope you enjoy them. And I'll catch you guys next time. See ya.